Hello everyone, I'm Bart here, and welcome back to a new movie review. There are many live-action and animated films out there, and very few animated crossovers as well. Both of these take advantage in the interaction of the animated characters and live people, or just the animated characters alone. And both offer fun ideas and situations to make the interactions work. And one of these films happens to combine the two together, and it still holds up really well, and it still works out. And that combination belongs to a movie known as Who Framed Roger Rabbit? The movie is based on the book Who Censored Roger Rabbit by Gary K. Wolfe, who later wrote a sequel book, Who Plugged Roger Rabbit. But the movie itself would spawn 3 theatrical shorts, a ride at Disneyland called Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, and Mickey's Toontown, an attraction that was once part of the Magic Kingdom. A detective named Eddie Valiant has a hatred for toons because one of them killed his brother. Yet he's brought in to prove that a very pretty toon named Jessica Rabbit is playing patty cake with a gag factory owner named Marvin Acme, which brings Jessica's husband, a toon named Roger Rabbit, into a fit of depression. But soon Eddie's called in to solve a case that Roger had murdered Acme, and a sinister man named Judge Doom is going to bring Roger to justice and execute him by putting him in the dip, which would kill toons. But Roger states to Eddie that he didn't murder Acme, so he and Eddie try to track down who's responsible for murdering Acme, and soon finds out that an animated world called Toontown is in danger of coming to an end. And of course, like anyone else who has seen this film, I love it as much as everyone else does. Though, there are a couple of things that many people have overlooked. For example, one of the items in the Acme factory is the portable hoe. And the problem with that is that this item didn't appear until 1955 in the cartoon The Whole Idea. And the movie takes place in 1947. Quite a big time gap for an item that didn't make a public appearance yet. Another thing, and this is very minor, is that the weasels die laughing, but they can still also die from the dip. And yes, the toons can die from dip, but could they also die from laughing? I don't know if it's just strictly for the weasels, but I think the laughing death could also happen to the other toons if they're not careful. I don't want to drag this on, but it kind of bothers me a bit. And another thing is just one technical issue, and it's not as obvious as you might think. It's when Eddie goes into the Ink and Paint Club, and the penguin waiters from Mary Poppins, again, a big time gap, are serving the humans their drinks. And I know how the tentacles work in this scene, but there are a couple of shots where the tiny gap for the pole that holds the tray is visible. And seeing that makes it obvious that the penguins can't move from where the tray is going. And there are a few other big time gaps with certain characters and objects, but I'll just leave it at that. Even though I have a few issues with this film, it really doesn't matter very much because the rest of the film is all great and very fun. And one of its achievements is the many cameos by the cartoon characters. Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny skydiving, Donald Duck and Daffy Duck having a piano duel, Betty Boop selling cigars and cigarettes, Droopy Dog operating the elevator, all the Toontown characters together in the final scene, it almost becomes overload. But it's just so great seeing all these characters under one roof, and they're all spread out very nicely and are not crammed into one scene like in Wreck-It Ralph. And not to mention the effects for the film. They still hold up very well. Yes, it's been done before, but sometimes the animation stands out from the rest, and are not really done to this extent. The shadows, the lighting, the highlights of the characters, etc. It's all blended very perfectly. But I also want to give a special notice to the screenwriters Jeffrey Price and Peter S. Seaman. Anytime they appear, I always feel that they are a very good team of writers. And people would forget about the screenwriter, and I'm not really sure why. Sure, they wrote scripts that people hate, but they also wrote pretty good ones. You might forget about them for a bad movie, but you also might remember them for a good movie. But aside from that, these two might become my favorite screenwriters, mostly for 2 reasons. One is the dialogue. It never escapes my mind. I can just quote a majority of their movies and be satisfied even if I miss, especially with words that they came up that can't be found in a dictionary. And 2 is how the huge vehicles at the end are described. I'm not sure what the descriptions are, but just looking at them gives me a general idea of what they could be. Whether it's the dip truck from this film, or the Grinch's sleigh from How the Grinch Stole Christmas, or the giant mechanical spider from Wild Wild West, they all look very awesome and amazing. And what's more amazing are the characters in the film. They all are very enjoyable and bring out lots of great material. Eddie is very good, Roger is really fun, Jessica is very pretty, but the one that I really enjoy the most is Judge Doom. Anytime he appears, it just gives me a smile, mainly for his design and bizarre movements. Until he reveals who he is, which is still scary since I was a kid. And the live-action characters are played very well by their actors. Bob Hoskins plays Eddie Valiant, Christopher Lloyd plays Judge Doom, Joanna Cassidy plays Dolores, Stubby K plays Marvin Acme, Alan Tovern plays R.K. Maroon, Richard Lee Parmentier plays Lieutenant Santino, and Joel Silver plays Raoul. As well as the actors providing the voices of the animated characters. Charles Fleischer voices Roger Rabbit, Benny the Cab, Greasy, and Psycho. Lou Hirsch voices Baby Herman. Kathleen Turner voices Jessica Rabbit. David Lander voices Smartass, or now known as Smart Guy. Mel Blanc voices Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, Sylvester, and Tweety Bird. Tony Anselmo voices Donald Duck. Mae Kestel voices Betty Boop. Wayne Allline voices Mickey Mouse. Joe Lasky voices Yosemite Sam and Foghorn Leghorn. June Foray voices Wheezy and Lena Hyena. And Richard Williams voices Droopy Dog. As a whole, this movie is awesome, funny, very fun, and really engaging. The characters are great, the story is very well handled, the animation is superb, and the effects are very good. Live-action director Robert Zemeckis and animation director Richard Williams have made a really great movie with plenty of mystery, lots of comedy, and tons of wonderful moments that are silly, heartbreaking, and even scary. It's certainly a movie that I often watch as a kid, and as an adult, I appreciate it even more for its characters, effects, animation, and more. So today, this movie will be given a rating of 4 stars. Thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Facebook or Twitter, and tune in next week for... 1 second here. Hello? Down here, sir. Oh, hey, Troopy. What do you want? I got a request, sir. For another movie that I'm in, sir. And what movie is that? This one, sir. Really? Yes, sir. Alright. Join in next week for a review of this. Good luck, sir.